Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando, that's Corey, and today we're doing 1983's Easy Money. Before we get into it, if you want to follow us on the social medias, you can follow us at Kiss the Reviews on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, if you want to get all of the movie clips and the pre-show hijinks and all of that, you can go to Patreon and check us out at Kiss the Reviews there. And sign up. It's only a couple of bucks, and it's a good time had by all.
It's a much better time over on Patreon. We have a lot more fun. We talk about bullshit, and for real, here in about another 2 weeks, maybe, I'd say giveaways are going to be starting for anybody commenting, I'm a new member.
There you go.
So join Patreon, because if you're on YouTube and you're like, I just subscribed, I don't give a fuck. Get your fucking ass over to Patreon.
And if you're already a member, we got stuff for you too. So you can also reply, I'm a new member.
Yeah, I mean, basically. Look, our original, I don't know how many are on there right now, but let's say 18, our original 18. You guys are cool. We'll cover you guys at least on the first go round of giveaways.
Yeah, absolutely.
The rest of you 3 people, go fuck yourselves. Earn it. Leave a comment.
Sign up and leave a comment. All right. Well, let's get into the cast of Easy Money. This film stars Rodney Dangerfield as Monty Capuletti, Joe Pesci as Nicky Cerone, Geraldine Fitzgerald as Mrs. Monahan, Candice Azzara as Rose Capuletti, Taylor Negron as Julio, Jeffrey Jones as Clive Barlow, and Jennifer Jason Leigh as Allison Capuletti.
It's really depressing to watch these movies and then Jeffrey Jones pops up and you're like, fuck! There's constantly a pederast in one of these fucking movies.
Yes.
Like, God damn it. And it's always a pederast where I'm like, I like that guy, but I don't ever want to fuck a kid. So I don't know what the disconnect is here in my brain.
Not for me.
Like, if Jeffrey Jones was my neighbor, I would literally be on the news being like, I can't believe it. He was such a nice guy. I would be that idiot.
You were correct.
He does have the look. And it's almost like he went shopping at the clothes store that sold that whole starter kit.
He's a total monster and had been telling us this for years.
Yes.
Nobody believed him.
Yep.
When he starred in Howard the Duck, you should have known.
For those of you who don't know, go back and watch Howard the Duck and see how angry Corey gets. Corey that's one thing that you have not let go. You've let go of a lot of things. Like, we've reviewed movies, you don't like them, or you don't like this actor, or whatever the case is. And typically we don't go in on actors. But the one thing you will not let go is this Howard the Duck thing, man.
No, I'm stuck on that shit.
And I'm here for it.
I feel about that movie the way 90% of the country feels about Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Hell yes.
Well, let's get into this one. So this movie opens with, it's in the suburbs where Monty is a photographer. He takes pictures of kids and he's taking photos at a kid's birthday party. And it basically just sets him up as this unhealthy, gambling addict, drunk scumbag. Like, he's at the birthday party, and this is like one of my favorite things because he's like, the one little girl, she's crying because the kid hits her in the head with a hammer, and he was like, hey, it's fine. Like, when you get to kindergarten, you're gonna forget all about him. And he takes out the little bunny, and he puts his hand in the bunny, and like 4 joints fall out. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the little dumb shit in this movie that I enjoyed immensely.
I'm 99% confident my first ex-wife watched this movie and literally thought this was me and you. Like, I was Rodney Dangerfield with just joints falling out, and you were Joe Pesci. And she's just like, I'm putting an end to this now, mister.
Armando's a bad influence, sir.
Mm-hmm.
No, you know what I do miss? I'll say this, right? So this is 1983.
Mm-hmm.
I miss movies where the title track has the title of the movie in it. Like this
Yes.
thing opens and it's like the suburbs, and then he's like flipping through the book and like drinking and doing whatever, and it's just like easy, easy money. Somebody went to Billy Joel or whoever did this song. It was just like, you know what? We need the movie's called Easy Money. Can you just write a song about easy money? And this is what happens to the guy. And it's literally like, I'm a drunk, smoke too many cigarettes, easy money. I miss that. I miss that almost as much. And I don't know if you did this, but I do it on a lot of older movies. But watch the trailer to these before you watch the actual movie, because this guy, it's like Monty Capuletti is a photographer who's down on his luck and he has a great family, and his mother-in-law dies. Like, I miss those kind of trailers. I want those trailers back, and I want every movie to have a song with the name of the movie in it.
Hell yes.
I'm going to take it a step further and say the song with the name of the movie in it. Also, another great thing about these 80s movies where they were sung by contemporary artists.
Yes.
They were sung by like Daryl Hall and fucking Billy Joel and, these guys that were major people back then, major players. That was like, oh man, the new Billy Joel song is a track on the fucking Easy Money soundtrack done by Billy Joel. This is amazing. People were super into that shit.
Yeah.
And now you only get that on like James Bond movies.
Yeah.
Like there is no Bodyguard soundtrack anymore. You know what I mean? Like that shit just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Fucking
it's
sucks.
Literally, it only exists if like Ice Cube is like writing and directing the movie. Like that's it.
You were right.
After this whole opening, we cut to Monty's old crotchety mother-in-law who owns this huge department store, upscale. She's super rich. She hates Monty because he drinks and smokes, and her husband didn't do any of that, and he was like super racist. So she was like, back in my day, that was awesome. So she gets to Monty's house for her granddaughter Allison's wedding, where she and Monty get into it immediately. And this is what everybody came for. This is Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh, yeah.
And the mother-in-law just trading jabs.
Yep. And I'm going to just toss this out there.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, mother-in-laws. If you have a son-in-law like Rodney or me, and you come to our house and you start kicking that kind of shit, I'm burying you in the backyard. Consequences be damned. This ain't ever fucking happening. I would lose my mind. I'm not like, oh, she hates me, I hate her, I'm gonna eat a bucket of fucking chicken. Ugh. I'm not trying to trade barbers with you, I'm fucking killing you. Period.
100%. I could not agree more.
Matter of fact, I'm making a statement right now. My next wife better have a dead-ass mother, or I ain't marrying you.
At our age, most of them are dead.
That's what I'm saying. I ain't marrying anybody with parents. Fuck you. I ain't putting up with in-laws ever again.
Hell yes.
Monty's buddy Nicky here lives next door. He comes over to pick him up, to take him to this photo shoot, and then to pick up this gigantic cake for his daughter's wedding. And they also make a quick stop at the horse track to place a bet. They lose. From there, Monty and his buddies, his whole crew, stop at the strip club. And then they play dice in the basement at the strip club. I fucking love the 80s. I love the 80s. Like, the only thing that was missing from this strip club was, like, you got the dice, and then, like, over here, there should have been, like, a bocce court or something. Like, that was literally
something weird, yeah.
Fucking horseshoes or some shit.
Yeah, just not quite right for the setting, but also it kind of makes sense.
Yes.
No, I totally agree with you. This is like when we were growing up, this is kind of what we were coming out of. Like, this had all started dying off, this backroom shit.
Yeah.
And Armando and I desperately tried to bring it back. So hard. We spread love and joy and STDs all over the middle of Ohio. And just, it never took a hold. A couple abortions, a couple pregnancies that may have been had, I don't know, along the way, but nothing ever really stuck.
Yeah. No, it was sad. It was sad. We tried to get this, like, backdoor dice thing.
Yeah, Armando was putting sand on his carpet. Like, we were doing crazy shit.
Every strip club we went into, we were like, do you got a basement that we can play dice in? And maybe some bocce? And they were like, dude, get the fuck out of here.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
Armando's like, wait a second. I'm from New York and I'm wearing leather. Do we have a deal? And they're like, no.
Oh. But meanwhile here, while they're doing all this, Monty's wife has a talk with her daughter, Allison, about how she knew that Monty was the man for her. And Allison's asking her, how did you know? Because, you know, she doesn't know foreplay. And these are obviously, and you and I talked before the show about Rodney's movies and Rodney's stand-up and his style. And the joke was always on him. Even when he's not in the goddamn scene, the joke is on him. Because Allison's asking about, like, I don't know about things like that. She's like what thing? She's like, foreplay. She goes, yeah, I don't know what the fuck that is either.
Yeah. Just so fucking funny.
Every scene, whether he's in it or not, the joke is constantly on him. And that's part of what I love about this movie.
No, that's what's so great about Rodney is his character, his stand-up character, which usually translated over into his characters in movies, as does for most stand-ups, to be fair. I'm not shitting on him. But that guy was always the butt of the joke. And you have to love and respect anybody that can do that, especially somebody who made millions of dollars, was an inspiration to so many other huge stand-up comedians that came after him. You know what I mean? Like, he knew who he was, and he was cool enough in his own skin to play this guy who was completely uncomfortable in his own skin.
Yeah.
Love that style. Just, absolutely. I can't say enough good things about Rodney Dangerfield. I really can't.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. And so my favorite part, because there are some, like, non sequiturs in this movie and stuff where I'm like, well, why is that a thing? Like this. Like, they go to pick up the cake and then they're out all night. And then after getting high with Nicky and Monty can't find an open restaurant because they got the munchies. And they decide to go home. But Nick is hammered. He's driving all over the road. He stops. They almost get hit by, like, a Mack truck. He guns it. And after almost getting hit, Nicky swerves, runs into, like, a building, and the cake is splattered all over the van. And then they never talk about the cake again, because the next scene is the daughter getting married and them going to the wedding reception, and the cake is never brought up. You don't see the cake at the wedding. There isn't a smaller cake. The wife doesn't get mad. It's just never brought up.
No, it's just, this whole scene, in my mind anyway, if I can put on my writer's cap, no.
Ooh,
yeah, I'm elitist as fuck. If I can, but in all seriousness, if by watching this scene, the whole setup to this scene, don't forget the cake, get the cake, don't forget the cake.
Yeah.
constantly being reminded, leaves the house because he needs Nicky to come over. His mother-in-law's there. They go out. The whole sole purpose is to get the cake. Mother-in-law stays at the house, so he starts. He's like, I ain't fucking going back there. So he basically goes on this run of epic debauchery, which I totally appreciate and can absolutely empathize with. And the cake splatting at the end is almost the exclamation point, just to say, like, this is how big of a fuck up this guy. The one thing, nobody cared about anything else but this cake. And he fucked it up. And they're so used to him fucking everything up that it never even gets brought up.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this, and I do appreciate you explaining because I'm kind of a moron. But
did I just mansplain?
You did, but I appreciate it.
I'm trying to get better.
What I would have appreciated more is the follow-up scene, them getting home, them both being drunk and high and yada yada and getting yelled at, and the mother-in-law. I would have rather had that than what happens next, which is the wedding and the wedding reception. And now Julio and Allison are like a side story. Like it's like a B plot throughout this movie. Because Julio pops up throughout this movie and Allison pops up with their marriage thing. I would have much rather had more of Rodney and the mother-in-law because that's the plot of this movie. You know what I mean? I would have much rather had that.
Yeah, I think it would have been interesting to jump the plot off like Rodney killed her. Like she fakes a heart attack. You know what I mean? Because they're getting into an argument. And then she gets wheeled out, and so everybody thinks she's dead. And then, like, on top of him killing her, he can also have this $10 million of her money.
Yeah.
If he can do all the da-da-da-da-da. You can still have all of it play out exactly the same, but them going back and forth in that final, really them duking it out to the point where he fake kills her would have been, to me, a lot more interesting and funny than Jennifer Jason Leigh and Taylor Negron going back and forth.
Yeah. Well,
because while that was funny, it really, it was, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it was because they're both of them are very good actors.
Mm-hmm.
So it made the scenes bearable, but it didn't really have any bearing on the rest of the plot of the movie. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no.
They get married here, they go on the honeymoon, she's a virgin, he's trying to, do the thing, and she doesn't want to do the thing, and then he hangs up on the dad, and then she goes and moves back home, and then the rest of this movie, he's just trying to get her back. Like, that's...
Yeah, and Rodney's even involvement in her being back home isn't really there. You think that's where a lot of the jokes would come from.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm back home and another woman and da, 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 da. Like you would think there would be mining of that material, but there really isn't.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. The tone shift they do with the two of their stories versus Rodney's story is so different.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a big tone shift, and just like even like the slapstickiness of it all disappears when those two are on camera. So you're right. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
It's more boxed in to save some time or to create some time.
Yeah.
In an otherwise script that just didn't have it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But in the middle of the night here, this is where we get into the crux of the whole thing. So Monty gets a call from his mother-in-law's lawyer, who lets him know that his mother-in-law died in a plane crash. And when they go to the reading of the will, they find out that Monty's wife will get the department store and basically all of her mother's money if Monty can reform himself in 1 year. That's no drinking, no smoking, no gambling, no philandering, no drugs, and he can't weigh more than 175 pounds by the end of the year. And if
I'm out.
Yeah, I know you're out. If he doesn't do this, then Is it her nephew? Is that Clive in this?
That's her son. I think they're brother and sister. I think that's her son.
Okay. So Clive will get all of her money, the department store, the whole nine, which we've seen this plot before, right? This is the goal. Now Clive has to put the kibosh on it so he can get the money versus Monty and his family. But
And for the record, Brewster's Millions is the best of these movies.
100%. Like that's immediately where my brain went to.
Yep.
Was Brewster's Millions. But like here, like he goes, he's like, hey, I don't know if I can do it. So like I can't stop smoking or drinking or gambling, and I don't want to be that guy. And you know, he goes to his friends, he goes to his family, and after all of this, he decides he's going to take the offer. So he immediately starts getting rid of all the drugs in the house. He quits smoking. He eats almost nothing. And he starts his like Rodney Dangerfield calisthenics, which out of all of the Rodney Dangerfield isms in this movie, the calisthenics are my fucking favorite.
I admittedly laughed out loud at the absurdity of him driving the stationary bike off the fucking rack and hitting the wall with going through the tree. So fucking funny.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And you know where it's going.
Yeah.
You know exactly how it ends, and it's still hilarious.
Oh, 100%. Like, I've seen that scene a million times. Still makes me laugh. But this is, if there's one thing that I'm like, you could have taken out Allison and Julio, inserted more of Monty and his mother-in-law at the beginning, and more of this, it would have been a much better movie. Clive here, at the very beginning, is obviously trying to sabotage Monty's, efforts, right? And he orders like 1,000 pizzas to his house. One time.
Yeah.
And that's all you see until he makes him like the fashion consultant guy, right? He literally, it's just one scene, him going, hey, I'll get some pizzas to my house. And then they deliver pizzas and they got to throw them away or whatever. That's literally all the sabotage he's trying to do.
Yeah,
that's where Brewster's Millions.
I'm with you because, it just.
Yes.
Like, do you have ADHD? You try one thing and then you're just like, man, I got other stuff to do. And you're terribly unimaginative. So, like, I just don't even get the point here. You know what I mean? Even after, like, when the clothes start to take off, you're still trying to get the money.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you not be making up? You're a conniving, slithering scumbag. That's your point of your character.
Yeah.
You wouldn't still be trying to win once Rodney's pretty much going to win. You'd be kissing his ass completely the whole time.
Yep.
Just me. All I got.
No, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. And again,
no, I mean, it's literally all I got. I'm leaving the reveal. I'm done.
I'm done. Done and done. But so after this, what my favorite part, like, there's more of his friends here being dicks than it is Clive, who's actually trying to sabotage him. Like, his friends are drinking in front of him, they're smoking in front of him, they're gambling in front of him, they're doing all these things. And they're also taking bets on if Rodney's going to actually fail in this whole, like, thing. Like,
and what cracks
that's my favorite part.
What cracks me up is they continually do it, being the taking bets if he's going to fail, smoking in front of him, drinking in front of him, eating, blah, 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 blah. And then the second he's like, oh, I'm sad because I'm skinny and healthy, and he walks away, they're all like, you guys know we're not helping, right? And they're like, yeah, you're right, we're not helping. Anyway, you want to make a bet on this guy fucking up or what? Or what? I'm going to go get a hoagie. I'm going to go get 2 hot dogs. You know what I mean? Like, They constantly recognize that they're not being good friends, but then continuously be bad friends.
My favorite part in this whole thing, in that regard, is Joe Pesci. They're all sitting down at the restaurant, right? And they're like, I'm gonna order this, I'm gonna order that. Joe Pesci's got the cigarette. And he was like, nobody's gonna fucking tell me that I'm not a slave to this cigarette. He's like, watch this. And he puts the cigarette out, and then he just gets another one out and lights it right
Immediately.
It's one of my favorite parts of this movie. Pesci is so good in this movie.
Oh yeah, he's good in everything he does, dude.
Oh,
that guy's
100%.
he's insanely talented.
My other favorite part of this is Nicky and Monty in the park, and they're sitting down at the bench. This is after he gets like 2 dogs and a yoo-hoo. By the way, what kind of psycho gets 2 hot dogs from a street vendor and drinks a yoo-hoo with the hot dogs? That's
2 hot dogs with sauerkraut and mustard, which is, by the way, the best way to take a hot dog, in my opinion.
That's the way to go.
He gets sauerkraut, mustard on 2 hot dogs and a yoo-hoo.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'd rather go no drink.
Yeah, I'd save my money and get a 3rd hot dog.
But here, my favorite is, we're deep into this now, right? He's been doing this shit for months. And he's like, hey, Nicky, I'm doing it for the kids. And he points over to the guy with the kid on his lap. And he's like, look at that guy. And he loves his kid. And then the mom and the cop come over and they're like, get away from my son. He's like, I don't know what happened. He just sat on my lap.
It's so good.
It's so, some of the background shit in this movie is brilliant. It's that old school, like, this is what I liked about this one. It's that old school, like Mel Brooks type of humor, which there's just, you got to pay attention to like all kinds of different shit, right? Like, that's what I liked about it.
On the surface, it's stupid.
Yes.
It's dick and fart jokes.
Yeah.
Right? But if you're paying attention, if you're listening, if you're watching, there's a lot of shit going on. And it's not like, oh my God, 42, they solved the mysteries of the universe. There's just a lot of cool shit going on in the background that elevates all the humor. It's not just like surface level shit going on.
Yeah.
It's so funny, dude.
No, it's great. And so Monty, right around this point, he has about 50 days left to his goal. He and Nicky go to Monahan's because they've never been to this store because it's all upscale and such. But they go there to browse. They get taken by security because they get kicked out of one of the stores in the department store, and they get taken to Clive's office in the boardroom. So Clive has the whole boardroom. Everybody's, it's the old white people's fucking room. They're all dressed to the fucking nines and yada yada, except for the one guy who's got the Michael Jackson like leather with all the zippers. Like, everybody's got suits and dresses and they're all dressed nice. And then there's the rando.
But then there's another guy who looks like a fucking bum off the street. He's literally wearing a t-shirt and jeans and has like almost like a beard.
Yeah.
It's not quite in a full beard, but he's getting there. And it's like, dude, like, what is this boardroom? It looked like fucking mannequin, like a Lustra or whatever they're whatever that bougie ass store's name was. The 2 guys in the pink suits, fucking Neil and Bob.
Yeah,
it is fucking crazy.
Twins.
Yeah.
But this is where Clive, he has everybody drinking and smoking when they get brought up to the room, and he makes Monty the fashion consultant for Monahan's, where he has him design the regular guy clothing line, and then cut to the regular guy clothing line fashion show for a department store. Like, I didn't get this. I know we gotta, you gotta move the thing along and it's gotta be a whole thing, but a fashion show though for a department store?
This is what got me about it. Why? What the fuck? If you're Jeffrey Jones character in this situation, if you're Jeffrey Jones, you're trying to suck a 12-year-old's dick.
Gross.
But if you're
not for me,
if you're this character, you're trying to own the department store and a net worth of $10 million.
Yes.
Cool. Your idea to achieve that goal is to torpedo the department store by letting this guy who doesn't belong in your boardroom do this. And by the way, if you answer to a board of directors, they're going to kick you off. It's illegal in the United States for a publicly owned company that has a board of directors to lose money intentionally, which is exactly what he's doing. So you are going to lose your job to own the store that you can't legally own. What in the fuck is the point of this?
Yeah, this whole outside of, hey, it's upscale, but I'm doing regular guy things. Like outside of that, and like I'm gonna make a mockery of him, like because at this fashion show, like everybody starts laughing at the boxer shorts. Which, by the way, those like I'm not a fan of like the actual boxer shorts. Those are kind of fucking dope. The ones that they're wearing. You got.
Oh, I just wear those out of the house.
If you wanted the regular guy, you wouldn't have gotten guys with abs coming out and modeling boxer shorts. You would have gotten guys you would have gotten 7 Rodney Dangerfields to come out and model this whole clothing line. But neither here nor there. They do the thing. Everybody laughs at Monty. This is when they get home. Monty loses his shit on his whole family and storms out to get drunk.
Yep.
And when he gets outside, Julio's there with a gun to take his wife back. And he trips on the bricks that he still hasn't fixed. They fall over, and then he gets shot in the ass and has to get taken to the hospital.
And this is just more Rodney Dangerfield. Everything here is like setting him up to talk about.
Yeah. No, well,
to make the joke and.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 things I really liked about this. The whole just Rodney Dangerfield in the whole contraption with his ass up in the air. This is classic Rodney Dangerfield shit, right? As far as the jokes and all that stuff. But, and I'm sure you noticed, but it's a small little piece in here. But when he gets home from the getting mocked and laughed at, and he's like, fuck this, I want to eat what I want, I'm going to get drunk, I want to find a beer, and he opens the fridge, and his youngest daughter put the like, and he like rips it out. He's just like, what the fuck? Like, and that sends him over the top.
Yep.
It's just so fun. It struck me as funny as the rest of the other like little things in this movie. It was just a small little thing, but I fucking found it hilarious.
The part I found hilarious that was very small is when Taylor Negron shows back up at the hospital now after having shot him in the ass.
Yes.
And goes, can I call you dad now? I fucking lost it. And then he just starts squirming.
Yeah. Well,
it was so funny. And that when they take the bed away and he's just hanging there and he's just, dude.
Listen, I get it. Lowest common denominator type of humor.
So stupid.
Slapsticky, whatever. But it, like, Rodney Dangerfield hanging from that thing when they take the bed out, and he's just all over the fucking place. Like, I would have just, that's one of those scenes where I'm like, I wish I was in the room on the soundstage as they're filming this, because I would have just loved to see that get filmed.
100%.
But here, they figure out, well, the doctor comes in, he says, oh, you got shot in the ass. You need to be here for 4 to 5 weeks. They realize that basically if he stays in the hospital, he can't smoke, he can't drink, he can't do all the things. He's going to get to the end of the thing and he's going to win.
Which, by the way, kudos to this little girl who is getting paid.
Oh,
she's
100%.
the only one staying motivated on this at all. She wants that money.
Yep. That's my
Nothing
favorite.
but respect for her.
showing the calendar and she's just got dollar signs and crossing the days off until she's fucking loaded. That's my favorite.
And it literally says, "Kiss me, I'm rich."
Yeah.
She's gonna Menendez her parents.
Oh,
100%.
absolutely. And she's gonna change the name of Monahan's to whatever her name is. And that's gonna be the new department store.
They just sell teddy bears and rifles.
But Monty also, this is where he finds out that the regular guy look that he came up with is a huge hit. And this is where Clive comes in and he's dressed in all of Monty's shit. But Monty gets to the finish line. He gets the money, cut to his yacht. And it's Nicky is his business advisor now. He's got his friends and family on the boat. And he has lunch with his friends and family. And this is where the lawyer shows up because he's got to sign the paperwork, but also his mother-in-law. This is where she says, "Oh, I'm just kidding. I was not really dead. I didn't die."
And everybody is like, "Mom."
Yeah.
You got
Everybody's
us
like,
again.
"Mom." And if Corey didn't push this bitch down the stairs at the beginning of this movie, you would have done it right here.
You were correct.
We've discussed on Patreon a lot about me being set up and not liking the feeling of that.
Absolutely.
I didn't do fucking drugs for sex and drinking, whatever. I didn't do drugs for 12 months and you pop in like you're goddamn Mary Poppins?
Yeah.
I'm getting so pissed right now, I'm gonna go kill an old lady. I'm telling you. Some random old bitch is dying today. I'm fired up.
Corey's all ready to go grab his bong. Nobody's going to steal this from me.
That's it.
But she also tells Monty here, this is the other thing. Again, if you hadn't pushed her off the yacht by now, she also tells Monty that she's moving in with his family in their new mansion. And so she can make sure that he stays this way and he stays on the straight and narrow. And the movie ends as Monty is sucking up to his mother-in-law at dinner and is sticking to his new lifestyle and he's not eating and he's being such a good boy. And after he excuses himself to go to bed, he goes to the basement where all of his buddies are. They're playing cards, drinking, smoking. He's eating pizza. He's drinking. And all he does is talk shit about his mother-in-law and what he told her that night as a lie.
That was so funny.
Great way to end this fucking movie.
And I obviously love this movie. I like almost any comedy, especially when it's got somebody like a Rodney Dangerfield in it. I'm on board. Unless they're pulling a Ladybugs, I'm on board with this.
Yeah.
That said, the way they ended this movie, I had such a craving for 1980s pizza made without gloves, unwashed hands, some fucking hairy-chested fucking baboon just fucking dripping fucking hair into my fucking sauce. Just sweat pouring grease off of it. Like, that was pizza, bro.
Yes.
I want that bad.
Yes. There is a place around the corner, like, just throwing it out there if you ever want it. There's a place around the corner from where I live that pizza that he's eating in this movie actually exists.
I will see you in 3 hours. That's drive time and time for me to fly. Airport, flight time, land, have that pizza waiting for me when you pick me up. I'm not even packing a bag.
It's so good, dude. So good.
I love it.
But I'm right there with you. What I found hilarious was, and we made fun of this a few weeks ago with the whole like Miller Genuine Draft of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Miller has been like the staple for the 80s, the 90s, even into the early 2000s. But like in the 80s, Miller High Life, the champagne of beers, was everywhere. I can literally, my dad, that's the first beers I used to steal when I was a kid because my dad used to drink it. But they're drinking Miller High Life in this fucking thing. And I could literally taste it in my mouth as it's on TV. It was not a good beer. Just throwing it out there.
You were right.
This movie was really good. You know what I really liked? Like, if I'm being honest here, I know we talked about the whole Allison and Julio thing. The joke with between Dangerfield and Taylor Negron here was he's marrying his daughter. I don't like you because you're marrying my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But like, he's Hispanic, right? Whole family's Hispanic. His whole family's Italian. There's an inside joke there that they never bring up.
No, like,
right?
he calls him a gangster a couple times.
Yeah, that's it.
And it never comes up. I'm like, shit, MS-13.
I forgot about this whole plot point about Julio marrying Allison and yada yada, and I was like, oh shit, this is gonna get real racist real quick. And it didn't. The whole thing is, I don't fucking like you because you're marrying my daughter. Like, that was the thing. That was the joke between him and his new son-in-law.
Yeah, I think they cut it. I think there was something there, and I think they cut it. I don't know if it's because it matched 16 Candles too closely with how the sister and that was getting married to kind of that Italian gangster who was kind of an idiot.
Yeah.
Because that whole storyline matches up pretty evenly.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know why they cut it, but there was something there they totally cut out. And it could have been, it just, like, they watched it and went,
it's not playing.
Nope. Too racist. Way too racist.
But no, that kind of shocked me because my mind immediately went there because I totally forgot that whole thing. But dude, from front to back, man, this is a classic Rodney Dangerfield. And if we talked about it before the show, you know, you think about Caddyshack, you think about Back to School, like Easy Money is one of those that gets left off. And I think it's underrated. I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, man, this is a good, silly, stupid 80s comedy. This is everything. There's gratuitous nudity from here to there. I mean, not the whole time, but from every now and again, rather. There's some gratuitous nudity. There's cursing. There's some racist jokes. There's some, fat jokes, women jokes. You can make fun of everybody jokes. This is basically the roast of Tom Brady, just set in the 80s.
If Tom Brady was fat.
Yeah, exactly. If Tom Brady looked like Jeff Ross, this is what it would look like. So
exactly.
No, this was it's a fun movie. There's nothing to take serious at all in it.
No.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I got nothing. Just if you haven't seen it, it's worth the watch.
Yeah, no, and thanks to Jay for requesting this one. So we appreciate Jay, one of our Patreon subscribers. So, and if you're not on Patreon yet, if you go over to Patreon and you sign up, requests are free. So
get to
it. But if that's all you got, that's all I got.
Now I'm just going to do this kind of like I got a good groove going right now.
It looks like you're about to piss your pants. Yeah. So
I'm not. I went pee before the show, but we can go anyway. Bye, guys.
For Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1983's Easy Money.